Thanks for joining us, everyone, on our 1045theteam.com podcast. Our next guest is someone that we've had on the podcast 2 or 3 times this season, but he's made his first trip in studio today. It's Sam Sigal, the voice of the Tri-City ValleyCats for the 2014 season. Sam, the ValleyCats are 35-16. We'll get to that in a minute. First off, thanks for being here and welcome to the studio.
Well, it's great to be here.
So the Cats, 35-16. Man, this team is one game out of having the best record in the New York-Penn League. They've got a commanding 8-game lead in the Stedler Division. And what's made this team so good?
I think it's really the ability to rebound both from adversity and from changes. Tri-City has had guys like A.J. Reed, Ryan Botker, J.D. Davis move up, and when Botker and Reed got moved up about a week and a half ago, the Cats went on their first losing streak of more than 2 games. They lost 3 straight, 1 against the Aberdeen Ironbirds and then 2 against the Mahoning Valley Scrappers. And they rebounded with that with a 4-game winning streak, which is where they are right now. And that was really the first telling sign in a long minor league season, even in a short season. There's going to be adversity. You don't go from winning 7 games in a row to just having nothing bad ever go your way. So the ability to kind of rebound when your back is against the wall is really an impressive thing that you see from all kinds of guys up and down the lineup and all around the pitching staff.
Speaking of pitching staff, they're going to have to deal with some more adversity here coming up in their next slate of games starting today. The ValleyCats are on the road until next week. Really a long stretch of home games that they had. I want to say something like 15 games in 22 days or something at home. That's not an exact number, but it was a lot of home games in a row. So, Sam, we know you're probably a little relieved here at this break. But the Cats' pitching staff had been one of their strengths, and they were anchored by Troy Scribner, who was at one point was leading the Triple Crown categories in the New York-Penn League. He just got moved up. How do they respond?
Well, I think not to say there's ever a good time for a guy like Troy Scribner to get moved up. And you had mentioned at the time of his last start, right before his last start, he was leading the league in strikeouts, ERA, and wins. But this past homestand, the ValleyCats have had solid starting performances, specifically from Austin Chrisman, who was the ValleyCats' opening night starter. His last 2 starts, both no decisions. One was a 6-inning, 8 strikeouts. And then right after that, he went a career-high 7 innings, did allow 2 runs, but they were all early on in the game, and he rebounded with 6 shutout frames after that. So you have guys like him that you could pick up the slack. So like I said, it's never good to see a guy like Scribner move up. The Cats are now at the point where I feel they have the rotation depth to settle in and rebound from a situation like that.
Now, the ValleyCats, again, we mentioned their record. Joining us today in studio for the first time is ValleyCats broadcaster Sam Sigal. They've had a lot of success because they've got a lot of high draft picks. How much of their success is predicated on the Astros' lack of success at the major league level getting these high draft picks?
I think sometimes that's a little overrated because, while a poor record does give a team a high first-round pick, the ValleyCats have gotten contributions from guys drafted a lot later. Nick Tanielu, who leads the team in RBIs, he was drafted in the 14th round. So that's saying that whether or not he was the first pick of the 14th round or not, 13 rounds came by with every team letting him go. So he's not an indication, or he's not really an example of the Astros having a poor major league record, because he went in the 14th round after whether the best team or the worst team could have scooped him up.
Sam, we're going to switch gears a little bit. We've talked a lot in the past about just the baseball side. We've hammered out the numbers, hammered out the statistics, the draft orders, all this kind of stuff. We're going to switch gears a little bit. People think about the road to the major leagues. They think about the players. For the Astros, or for the ValleyCats players, we're looking at guys that get moved up. They've gone to Quad Cities, which is in Iowa. They can go to Lancaster in California. Then they go to AA in Texas, AAA in Oklahoma City before you finally make it to the Astros. There's a lot of spots on the way. What kind of gets lost in the shuffle is, what about the broadcaster? What about the umpires? What about the clubhouse attendants? All these guys that want to get to the majors too. What's your road been like?
Well, I started off a few seasons ago as an intern in Trenton, New Jersey, which is near where I'm from. And that wasn't broadcast specific, at least at the start. It was a general internship where I came in and every 2 weeks I would specialize in a different department. But I was always intrigued and always interested by the baseball and the broadcasting spot of it. And I struck up a friendship with their announcer at the time. He's now with the Giants AA team in Richmond, Virginia. And towards the end of the year, he gave me some opportunities to learn from him, to shadow him. And from that, I moved on. Starting last year, I was in North Carolina with the Texas Rangers low A team in Hickory. And then from there, I went to the Johnson City Cardinals, which are in the same league as the Astros advanced rookie affiliate, Greenville Astros, in the Appalachian League. And from there, I came up here. So just like players, it's finding the situation that works for you. And I'm excited that this situation is in Troy.
Moral of the story, everyone, it's a long road to the big leagues, no matter what facet you're trying to get there in.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, it's the same thing. I mean, umpires, they don't get hired as major league umpires. They start on the complex leagues in the Arizona League and the Gulf Coast League, and they move up level by level. The guys we see here have the exact same goals as the players and everyone else, and they're at the exact same level of their career. They're just trying to break in, trying to create a career for themselves. It's like that with a lot of people throughout the front office.
Sam Sigal, Tri-City ValleyCats broadcaster. We'll get you out of here on this. ValleyCats, again, for the third time this podcast, we're going to say it, 35-16, one game away from having the best record in the New York-Penn League. Playoff time is really just around the corner. It's a short season affiliate, so we're only playing 76 games. We're already well more than halfway through that. Just 11 more home games for the ValleyCats over the next month. Playoff time is around the corner. What do you see this team doing? Can they repeat the last year's 2013 New York-Penn League title?
I honestly think that the next week or two will really tell a lot and explain a lot about the team that we see now and about the team we will see then, because you mentioned you're missing a guy like Troy Scribner. The Cats have been without the players like A.J. Reed and J.D. Davis and Ryan Bachker for a while now. It will really be a strong indicator of how well they will do in the postseason by how well they do now with the team they have right now and the roles that the guys fit. We saw a guy like Terrell Joyce have 8 runs batted in over a span of 3 games during this past homestand. That was a guy that we didn't see produce like that before, but now had to adjust to his role. Nick Tinielu suddenly has the team lead in RBIs, is 3rd in the league. Guys like that, when put into positions that they didn't start the season at, both in the batting lineup and defensively, how they adjust to their roles, the pitchers in the tandem rotation, how they settle into whether they're starting or relieving, being able to do what they need to do to help the team win, I think will really be able to demonstrate to us what kind of team we'll have come September.
Terrell Joyce, certainly a guy who really turned it on in this last homestand. My player to watch at the ValleyCats is right-handed pitcher Joe Musgrove. Stay tuned on him. The ValleyCats aren't home again until next week. So, Sam, thanks for being with us in studio. Recharge the batteries a little bit, and we look forward to listening to you again soon.
Sounds like a plan, Brady. Thank you for having me.